guess quick recap. I mean, we didn't play very good defense, getting off blocks. I thought the key early in the week, talking to guys, we need to play good run defense with those guys coming in with their option, because if they could run the ball, it'd be pretty tough. And they did a great job blocking us. They were very physical and ran it well, made it hard. I thought their passing game would be tough. We couldn't let them run. Offensively, we did okay, but anytime we had a penalty or a negative, we kind of stopped ourselves and got behind with a couple of drives where we just couldn't kind of keep pace. And, I thought Northwestern physically kind of outplayed us, especially with their offense. And I actually to a very respectful way, Pat at the end kind of treated that deal at the end, because he could have punched one more in if he wanted to. So it's pretty respectful getting those first downs and working at the end. So kind of appreciate him, taking care of us a little bit. But what questions you got?
Defensively, I guess, you mentioned not being able to get off blocks, also had some breakdowns in the secondary. It seems like those things are continuing to happen. How much of a concern is that? How bothered you by what happened back there?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's what it is. Keep battling, playing through it. Again, I don't have, excuses, or, we were playing some young guys, but after a while, I mean, they were going to line up basically in two main formations, and they actually put a third one out there. It was nothing unusual. So again, to miss a line, bust, to miscommunicate. But again, when you're a young guy and you don't have the confidence, you don't hear, and you have some bust. I get that to some degree, but that's an excuse to me. It's your job to know your job, and to know your assignment, to get the call, to be on top of it, and be demonstrative if you're not. And again, there might be some matchups, but at the same time, you've got to challenge guys. We could play soft vanilla, bend but not break. I think sometimes we actually kind of play a little too base and a little too stand up where they get targets on us. I'd like to see us actually be a lot more multiple than we are, because I think with our skill set, if we kind of line up and people get a beat on us, it's a little easier to pick apart. But with young guys, the more you do, the more mistakes you have. So it's a little bit of a balance where I think Coach Eckler and Coach Mallory kind of stuck, where, I think, again, sometimes you'd like to get to some things, can you? And we've had some injury issues where you kind of rotate some guys through. So even though it's game 8, 9, 10 for some guys, like for Murphy, it's game 2, 3 at safety, because he played 4 or 5 games at backer. So there's still a little bit of rub with that. But those guys are very clean on offense. They do a good job. And, again, a good credit to their O-line run game, because I thought that we had to stop that. We didn't come close to it.
You probably don't want to use the word quit on defense, but do you ever get that sense that it's starting to snowball in that direction when they're able to score every time they get the ball?
Well, again, it's a couple weeks in a row, and that word needs not be here, be a part of our vocabulary. So that's why at the end we were taking our timeouts, trying to get the ball back, trying to get a stop. We had several third downs. It seemed like we had a couple third downs where we had them stopped, and we had penalties against us. There was a couple third downs where we actually converted, but then the penalties were against us as well. So there were some key third downs where we just poor play on our part. We didn't execute our techniques properly and haunted ourselves. We had a third down stop on a pass. We get called for interference. We had a couple of those. So offensively, same deal. So we just got to learn as we play how to play by the rules, keep it clean. But that Q word better not be a part of what we're about.
With seven freshmen starting on defense, kind of talk about what was your thinking there, and is that kind of building for the future?
I mean, it was just the guys. I mean, we're trying to win the game. I thought we had the best week of practice. Thought we could come in and, I thought Northwestern would be a significant challenge offensively. But you can specifically, as you go through and visit with Coach Eckler or Coach Mallory or those guys about their guys, as far as who's playing. So, some of those young guys are just, the more they play, the better they get. Some of those guys are the best cats.
Can you talk at all about DeMarlo, his suspension, and what precipitated that?
Just, violation of team policy rules. What's going on? He was just suspended, and you guys got it. And we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about getting beat first.
Do you anticipate being back next week at this point?
I don't know. We'll talk about it as we get with tomorrow and move forward.
You talked about the way Stephen Houston ran the ball today.
Good. Ran through some trash. Got more than was blocked. I think in some ways, we blocked a little bit better too, but I think he did, not that he was playing on his own out there, but he definitely took some, Terry, some 1 and 2 and 3 yard plays and got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a few times. And again, the more he's played, the better he's got. Here's a guy that shows up for us. Again, we don't know anything about him until mid-June. Get him in here the 1st of July, and now he's played. You see the more he keeps playing, so I appreciate that. That's a couple, 3, 4 weeks in a row. He keeps building. What he's going on. I think it's the first time in about 8, 9 years we had 300 yards rushing in a game, and we're not trying to do that, but both he and Trey over 100. That was nice, and I think Trey being a young guy, and we'll see some different animals as we move forward in the next couple 3 weeks defensively with the type of defense and other teams' ability to play great run defense. But Trey being a young guy, I don't know if we want to be a true drop back throw it 60 times a game right now with him getting all the work. So We need the run game. We need Stevens. Nice to see D'Angelo come in, have a little spark, make a few plays. And, he kind of be on the shelf for a few weeks. Nice to see him to get back out and get going too.
Do you see this ground game being sustainable as it's currently going? I think this is the third straight game with over 200 yards. I think you said 300 yards today. Like a bunch of good run defenses coming up. Do you see this kind of success continuing?
It's going to be tough against some of these dogs now because they line up and play it pretty salty. And I haven't gotten in to study them yet, but I know when you watch TV and you look at stats and look at numbers, and they played a bunch of good teams, and they've done it for several years. They've done it repeatedly. That you're going to see some teams play great run defense, but we'll start. I haven't really studied our next opponent, Ohio State next, but as we move forward, it's going to be difficult. But that being said, I go back. You look at our defense here recently. This is the fourth game in a row where we've allowed a team to be pretty good at both. And Penn State struggled in the passing game. They ran it okay, but because it was a little bit more one-dimensional, that was one of our better defensive outings. You've got 4 games in a row now with Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa. Now today we've gotten good quarterback play, good throwing game, but they've all been complemented with very, very good running game. When you're doing both, it's hard on the defense. We're going to play a couple great defenses. Their ability to get you one-dimensional is what they want, and so we got to find some running game, but it's going to be very, very tough with the opponents coming up.
Kevin, the way your offensive line is played, obviously you're not generating that kind of rushing attack without some good offensive line.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're getting better. I mean, I appreciate like Peyton Eckert and Colin Rohrig and Bernard Taylor's freshmen. The more they play, they don't seem as timid. There's more velocity and speed. And as I said a week ago, I thought Max Dedman had his best week. I actually think Justin Pagan and Andrew McGee are a couple of the old guys that actually buying in, are great practicing the way we want. Even in one of the comments, one guy said, the better I practice, you guys don't yell at us as much. I go, yeah, and so they're kind of getting it. So I appreciate that. I mean, I had, like last week, Andrew was a captain. This week, Justin was a captain, because I respect the way those guys are doing it, because I really want these seniors to finish as good as they can. And that's why, again, not worried about starting 7 freshmen. We were trying to win homecoming, win at home, and beat Northwestern. That was the motto and the theme all week, and that's what we were trying our darndest to do.
Mention Trey a little bit. I guess you just elaborate on just what you thought about what he did today. Just
okay. Again, I think there's still some throws and time that he's missing. He can get and all, but he's really calm. Very few issues with one time. It was a tight end messed up. We had a double motion that was not part of his deal with communication. Just one of our players messed up a communication, a signal, and messed up what was going on. So again, for a young guy, and we've got a fair amount on his plate. That's again now about 4 weeks in a row. There's not been a watered-down version for him. It's been, here's the offense, let's do it. Again, he stays very, very calm, even after the first pick. When he threw that pick early in the game, I think it was our second drive. And he came in the field and was doing like, my bad. And I say, hey, look, throw it on time, rip it, trust what you see, don't force it. And for the most part, I think he's doing that. We got to keep building him in the passing game. We also got to be smart and protect him as we run the ball with him.
How's Luis doing?
He got a knee, and I think we'll see MRI, but his potential may be a surgical knee. It looks like that won't happen until a couple of days to MRI, but I think to the naked eye with their docs, it looks like it could be on his knees. It's a surgical. So, he on a touchdown pass, good to get him back going a little bit. But that being said, it's kind of swung it where you're getting Jay McCants, Cody Latimer, those guys more, Jamon, those guys more rest. But we'll see how Luis is. We'll know something. Whether it be tomorrow for you Tuesday, I think he'll get MRI'd and see if there's a chance to be a surgical knee, it looks like.
You talked about players buying in. Do you feel like those players not buying in so far has hurt the team moving forward?
Oh, yeah.
How much harder does it make for your defense when you don't know who's going to line up for them at quarterback?
A little bit, but at the same time, that was one of the things we had worked all week. We had a separate player in practice, Ware, specific number 2, and he does throw the ball, but there was so much more. And I'm glad I didn't see Dan Purcell when he was full speed, because he's one of the unique guys that could really throw and run. Some guys, the Coulter kid, probably a little bit much stronger in the run game with the speed element, but he looks like he can throw it well. But you knew you were going to get a little bit more option run oriented with him in the fact. But again, the real deal for us defensively, we got to keep looking at some scheme thoughts, but getting off blocks and making tackles and just playing harder. We'll keep moving with that. All right, guys, appreciate it.